Good afternoon, fellow students. I am Joe Doyle, representing Team E, which includes myself, Maël Charles Cazot, Yinshu Chen, Kelly Leatherman, and Daniela Vidauri. Today, we will discuss hunger in America and recommendations to establish a new Feeding America certified food bank so we can cultivate connections in a community that could benefit from Feeding America services. In the following presentation, we will first address the issue of food insecurity to better understand the need for food assistance and Feeding America's services. Next, we will discuss our potential communities and the criteria used to determine which community we recommend overall for Feeding America. After that, we will discuss the capacity of that community in terms of its nonprofit, public, and private sectors. And finally, we will provide next steps for Feeding America to establish a food bank in our recommended community. The United States Department of Agriculture defines food insecurity as a lack of consistent access to enough food for an active, healthy life. In the United States, 1 in 9 people struggle with hunger, equating to over 37 million Americans, including more than 11 million children. The COVID-19 pandemic has worsened the issue significantly. It is estimated that 50 million more Americans will suffer from food insecurity issues due to the economic impact of the crisis. Food insecurity is closely related to poverty. However, not all people living below the poverty line experience food insecurity, and people living above the poverty line can experience food insecurity as well. Food insecurity can be the result of an unexpected expense, such as a medical emergency, unplanned utility or vehicle maintenance, job loss, or lack of reliable transportation. Being food insecure for a long period of time can lead to other problems, such as chronic disease or other health issues, worsening poverty, and underdevelopment in children. Food banks are one resource employed to mitigate complications of hunger for those who would otherwise have difficulty acquiring food. Feeding America operates the largest network of food banks in the United States, overseeing over 200 distribution sites and serving all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico. As the largest domestic hunger relief charity in the United States, the Feeding America network of food banks provides food assistance to an estimated 46.5 million Americans in need each year, including 12 million children and 7 million seniors. Feeding America headquarters supports member food banks across the country by securing food and funds and building partnerships that benefit the network nationally to provide support for food bank programs and to raise awareness about the problem of hunger. In turn, the food banks distribute donated food to community-based hunger relief agencies across the country and help support feeding programs such as food pantries, soup kitchens, emergency shelters, senior centers, and mobile programs that directly serve people in need. Before we continue, our team would like to provide more information about Feeding America's process. Donations for food banks and pantries alike are supplied by national food and grocery manufacturers, retailers, shippers, packers, and growers, as well as from government agencies and other organizations. These donations are sent to a food bank. A food bank is a warehouse where millions of pounds of food and other individual sustainability products are stored for distribution to a community. The food banks distribute food and grocery items through food pantries and meal programs that serve families, children, seniors, and individuals at risk of hunger. A food pantry functions as a point of distribution to individuals. They are the arms that reach out to a community directly. Mobile food pantries operating from trucks and large vans may distribute food to those in remote areas as well. Despite these hunger mitigation measures, many parts of the country are still geographically isolated and lack access to this immediate network of services. Our team assessed 5 communities to understand need for food assistance with the following criteria: a food insecurity rate and poverty rate above 10.5%, as indicated by data from Feeding America, a distance of at least 60 miles from the nearest food bank by road according to data from Feeding America and Google Maps, and at least 1 tract of land with low-income residents who have low access to food, denoting the presence of a food desert according to the USDA. The USDA measures a tract based on whether or not it is located in a rural or urban community. For urban communities, a low-income tract indicates at least 33% of the population is low income and lives more than 1 mile from the nearest grocery store or supermarket. For rural communities, A low-income tract indicates at least 33% of the population is low income and lives more than 10 miles from the nearest grocery store or supermarket. After analyzing 5 communities and comparing these metrics, we concluded that Crawford County, Kansas would be our recommended community for a new Feeding America food bank. Crawford County is in southeastern Kansas near the Missouri border. The largest town in Crawford is Pittsburgh, with a population of 39,000. Crawford County has high rates of food insecurity and poverty, with 6,130 people and 8,152 people falling into the two categories respectively. The nearest food bank to Crawford County is Kansas Food Bank in Wichita, about 156 miles to the west. There are also 5 tracts in Crawford County qualifying as food deserts. 6,536 people in these tracts live in poverty. Considering the challenges and needs within this community, we next analyzed the nonprofit sector in Crawford County to see what nonprofits are currently doing to address these needs and what opportunities exist within this sector. There are 404 total registered nonprofits in Crawford County, according to data from GuideStar. Representing a plurality of those nonprofits are 57 registered faith-based organizations. One such example of these institutions is Wesley House, one of 6 faith-based institutions hosting a food pantry, making it an appropriate potential distribution point for a new food bank. Within Crawford are also 28 human service nonprofits and 8 health service nonprofits offering overlapping services such as sustainable living and emergency health services for those suffering from the effects of food insecurity. Several of these nonprofit organizations, including the aforementioned Wesley House, serves locations through which food insecure individuals can receive public sector assistance to help them meet their needs. Public assistance for the food insecure typically includes 3 programs: the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, commonly known as SNAP, the Summer Food Service Program, or SFSP, and the Commodity Supplemental Food Program, or CSFP. SNAP helps millions of low-income Americans by providing recipients with an electronic benefits card that can be used at authorized retailers to purchase food. SNAP is a federal program through the USDA, but is administered by state governments. 42% of Crawford County's population qualifies for SNAP benefits, which could be redeemed at 29 locations within the county. SFSP is another federally funded, state-administered program that reimburses program operators who serve free healthy meals and snacks to children in low-income areas. There are now 14 SFSP sites in Crawford County, serving Crawford's nearly 2,000 food-insecure children. CSFP is a program that supplements diet to improve the health of low-income people over the age of 60, about 9% of Crawford's population, with a box of food distributed monthly. To round out our analysis of overall community capacity, we analyzed Crawford County's private sector as well. Crawford County has a total of 22 grocery stores, including major chains such as Kroger and Aldi, who are Feeding America donors. The top regional Feeding America donor present is United Healthcare. These organizations will be important to keep in mind when considering next steps for establishing Crawford County's new food bank. Startup support for the food bank would rely on donations from partner organizations, community groups, and individuals who would donate money, food, and time as volunteers. Regional Feeding America affiliates have in the past solicited support from private companies including Kroger, Aldi, Costco, Dunkin' Brands, Target, and Wells Fargo, amongst others, donating more than $4 million and 40 million pounds of food per year to area Feeding America affiliates in Kansas. Based on internal documents from those affiliates, appropriate facilities for Crawford County's food bank would require a warehouse with at least 50,000 square feet of space, including cooler and freezer space, and room for at least 1,250 pallets. The new food bank would also need a fleet of at least 15 trucks with sufficient docking space in order to distribute efficiently to area pantries and other distribution points in the area. Staff can be recruited from members of the local community already engaged in the service sector, which makes up a little over 20% of those employed in Crawford County, according to data from the U.S. Census Bureau. An additional 10.7% of the local employed population serves in office and administrative support occupations, with skills that could easily translate to administration of a new Feeding America affiliate food bank. This facility could be sufficient to serve not only Crawford, but 11 other counties in southeastern Kansas with food insecurity rates exceeding 15%. Adding these counties would add at least 35 more distribution points for Crawford's new food bank. The new food bank would also need steady sources of volunteer labor. According to the Association of Religion Data Archives, there are 71 religious congregations in Crawford County with 18,579 adherents. Partnerships with these congregations should be sought as a potential source of volunteer labor and donations. Pittsburgh State University, located in Crawford, has 48 student groups categorized as service organizations from which volunteers could be drawn as well. Another source of volunteers could include service groups from local secondary schools. Corporate and business groups could also serve as a suitable volunteer pool. In addition to providing support for federal welfare programs, Crawford's Food Bank could further bolster other food security programs in the area. To serve children, we suggest the new food bank expands the current SFSP efforts funded by the USDA. Food for Kids is another Kansas-based in-school food assistance program that our team believes would be wise to extend to Crawford's Food Bank. This program provides food and supplies in partnership with community schools. To serve seniors, we suggest the new food bank expands the current CSFP efforts funded by the USDA. This food bank could also benefit from establishing a system of mobile pantries, where trucks deliver food to different community sites across the region. This could include a special set of monthly deliveries to senior living facilities. Employing staff to increase SNAP outreach and enroll residents in the SNAP program would also be beneficial. A mobile pantry service for those in very rural neighboring areas should be explored as well. With these programs, in tandem with donors, staff, and volunteers, we hope this new food bank can cultivate important connections across Crawford County that address food insecurity in the community. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon.